centers to factories, from cloud to the physical world, AI is genuinely becoming the engine of modern economies, Alex, and the heart of that engine is Nvidia.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Jay Puri, Executive Vice President Worldwide Field Operations at Nvidia. Sir, please make your way to the stage.
A huge round of applause, please. This is an absolute honor, sir, to have you with us over here. And obviously moderating this massive moment is Shweta Rajpal Kohli of the Startup Policy Forum. We cannot wait for this session. A huge round of applause, please.
Think AI, and the one company that will come to your mind is Nvidia. Starting out as a very niche graphic chips company to now becoming an AI titan, a company that has the distinction of being the first to ever cross that $5 trillion market cap, a company that continues to have innovation at the core of its engine. And it's such an honor and pleasure for us to have with us Jay Puri, Executive Vice President, who's leading the Nvidia delegation to India at this very crucial moment when India is hosting the India AI Impact Summit. And for us to have him for this keynote fireside at the NDTV Ind.AI Summit is a real honor and pleasure. Jay Puri, you're someone who has a fantastic credential of being the one person who has helped bring about this transformation of Nvidia. And I'd love to hear from you, first off, what this moment means to you, being in India at this time, at the invitation of the Prime Minister, as a company that continues to be the poster child of AI in the world. What are your thoughts as you visit India?
Thank you, Shweta, and hello, everyone. Yes, it's an absolute honor to be here at this momentous occasion. We've all been looking forward to the AI Summit. The Prime Minister obviously has great aspirations for AI to democratize things for the global South, and he wants India to be the digital hub for AI infrastructure. And we are just so delighted to be here to help celebrate our ecosystem and to partner with the government, startups, researchers, and so on to make AI a reality in India.
Well, AI is a reality, Jay, and definitely for Nvidia more than for anyone else. And I think as students of AI, and all of us still grappling with what this technology is, how transformational it is, and how it's going to change our lives, we'd love to understand the Nvidia architecture of AI. And Nvidia famously talks about that 5-layered cake. and it's great for audience to understand that 5-layered cake, when we talk about, whether it's energy or chips and data and then apps and, models. And I don't think I got that sequence right, but no one better than you to break it down for us, to unpack that 5-layered cake for us and help us understand what's going on in the world.
Yeah, so, well, first of all, AI, the ability to manufacture intelligence at scale, it's a miracle. I mean, it is just amazing, and it is unleashing a new industrial revolution. It's going to be as essential infrastructure as electricity or transportation, internet. The impact on society is going to be huge. The question is, how did it become a reality?
Right.
And there is actually a very fundamental change in the way computing and software is done, which is what made it possible. So in the past, as you know, software was very explicit. You had to tell a computer exactly what to do. You wrote the program or the algorithm, gave it access to structured data, and then, it would essentially, do what you asked it to do. Well, AI and the computers now are very different. You can basically talk to them, ask them questions, they understand what is your intent, what is the context, and then they're able to reason about things and give incredible responses or take action and so on. It's really amazing because now the types of things you can do literally is what humans could do before with our intelligence, right? And this all became possible. So in the past, as I said, everything was pre-programmed, and when you were talking to computers, etc., you were essentially retrieving stuff that was already been pre-recorded. Now everything is being done in real time. These responses are all real time. And so that requires a tremendous amount of compute to be able to do that. Nvidia essentially pioneered that method of computing. We were able, previously, computing was basically driven by Moore's law. And essentially, computers got twice as fast every 18 months, 10 times as fast every 5 years, 100 times as fast every 10 years. In the past 10 years, since AI came to the fore, Nvidia has increased computing by 1 million times. And
wow,
we continue,
1 million times.
1 million times.
Amazing, right.
And that's kind of, that is totally transformational, and that's what has made this AI stack, possible to be able to do that. So let me talk a little bit about the 5-layer cake that you bring up. It's the 5-layer stack. Jensen calls this the 5-layer cake,
right.
which is interesting. And so here is what it is. At the foundation, it's about energy. So the amount of energy, the amount of compute or intelligence, the amount of intelligence that you will be able to produce fundamentally, of course, depends upon how much energy you have. And so that is the most basic of constraints. On top of that, we have chips.
Right.
And that's where, NVIDIA builds the most advanced chips when it comes to, parallel processing, graphics processors. You need high bandwidth memory. You need very fast interconnect and so forth. And these chips, you have to make sure they're all co-engineered to work well together, because ultimately they determine the horsepower of the system, if you will. They determine how fast the ultimate factory is going to be. And the faster something is, that is directly proportional to being lower cost. And
Correct.
so the faster we can make it, the lower the cost, and
right.
the more affordable it is, which is, of course, very important. Then the next layer of the stack is what we call infrastructure.
Correct.
This is actually building the AI factories, okay?
Right.
So you need the land, you need to build out the shell for the data center, you need to provision it with the appropriate power and cooling and connectivity and so on. Then you take the chips that I talked about, you put them in servers, and you connect them with very high-speed networking. You have a whole software layer that is on top to make it work. So these are AI factories.
And that's the infrastructure layer.
That's the infrastructure layer. Billions of dollars of investment, and so it's really important that this be built very well.
Right.
And so, NVIDIA has reference architectures that help you design the data center appropriately, reference end-to-end architecture to, build out the AI factory so that the total cost of ownership is as low as it can be, and the return can be very, very fast. On top of the infrastructure, the next layer then is the models.
Right.
So these models are like, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Grok, and so on. These are the proprietary models that
And
you
if
guys,
I may add now, Sarvam as well.
I was going to go there because this
Yes.
is really important, Shweta. The other set of models that are there are the open models.
Correct.
And the ones like DeepSeek and Qwen and in now. Nvidia has the Nemotron models.
Right.
And then Servam and all these other indigenous sovereign models that are being built we are helping them with the Nemotron, and those are extremely important to India's sovereign strategy, and hopefully we'll talk more about that.
I'd love to actually talk more about that, Jay.
Well, let me just
finish the fifth
the
layer. Yes,
fifth
please,
layer
please.
of the cake.
Of course, very important that
it's
we
a
have the
cake.
the
We
cake.
gotta have the full
and the top
cake.
layer is very important too. Yes.
Yeah, well, actually, the top layer in some ways is the most important, and
Right.
that is the applications that are built on top.
Correct.
And because these are the applications where the real economic value is brought to industry, right? So whether it be healthcare, manufacturing, finance, every single industry is going to be transformed, manufacturing, and so that's where all the applications are being built, and all the services, including all the public services in India, are going to be developed on top of that. So that's the 5 layers. Okay, energy, chips, infrastructure, models, and applications. And each layer sort of pulls on the layer beneath, and it's all extremely important.
Jay Puri, I must say this is the best master class an audience could ever get on understanding artificial intelligence, because as I keep saying, this is a technology that's transforming so quickly that people are still grappling with understanding it, but a beautiful explanation, and thank you. And I'd like to touch upon the top 2 layers that are most significant for India, and of course we'll talk about infrastructure and compute as well. But first let's talk about the layer around the models, because the conversation right now is on that. In about an hour from now, at the Bharat Mandapam, we will see Servam launching formally its sovereign AI model, and there has been a lot of excitement and build-up around it. We've seen them do 14-day model drops, and this coming especially on the back of a lot of pessimism around India and its ability to build models. And there was a time when we were just hearing everyone say, you know what, India should not even be in the race. You can just be on the application layer, and that's all that India should do. But now here we are showing and demonstrating capability. My question to you here is, NVIDIA's thoughts around both sovereign AI and, as you had mentioned, open source, and why these are very significant terms, and if you could explain a little bit more about it and what your thinking is on how India should be thinking on these ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I never doubted that India is going to be a major player given all the talent that is here.
I think let's give a big applause to that. Someone who never doubted India, and it's very important that we hear that coming from NVIDIA. Thank you.
Yeah, so what sovereign AI is about designing, developing, regulating your own AI systems, having your own domestic AI infrastructure, and using your own data. Every country, especially a country like India, has a lot of proprietary data that reflects its many languages, its culture, and so on, which is a very valuable resource. And so you absolutely want to develop, local models that are key to the sovereignty, just like Servam is developing, right? So that it can reflect the culture of India, the languages of India. And to be able to do that, open models are very essential,
right,
as a starting point. And that's why NVIDIA has a major focus now on open models. Our models are at the frontier scale now, and they're called Nemotron. And we are working with Servam and Ganani AI and Bharat Gen. There are several actually. It's really, given, it's not just 1 or 2 companies, it's actually several companies in India that are focusing on this, and we are supporting them all, okay? Because open models are really important for innovation. They're important for researchers, startups, and enterprises. A lot of people, including all of the sovereign model builders, need access to frontier models that are open source. So our models are open models, the data sets are open, all the tool sets around them are open. That's one of the ways we are supporting the country in its drive for sovereign
So
AI.
if I could just rephrase this, what you're saying is that a large giant like Nvidia is today supporting India on its journey to attaining sovereignty in AI by supporting some of these homegrown companies that are building these models. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Moving on to the other big challenge that policymakers are grappling with right now. And the big question, the elephant in the room, so to say, is about employment and displacement of jobs. And the general I think, theory right now is that AI is coming for your job. And there's going to be mass-scale displacement. We have seen the impact on the IT services sector already, and that's already showing up in stock indices as well. What's NVIDIA's viewpoint around this whole concept of possible mass displacement due to AI?
Yeah, so AI is a very powerful force, and like every other technological sort of disruption that we've had, it will have an impact on jobs. It's going to change every jobs. Some jobs will be lost. A lot of new jobs will be created. To begin with, actually, what we are finding is that AI is, right now in the knowledge economy, AI is impacting people's ability to augment what they're doing.
Right.
Right? And it is increasing the productivity of knowledge workers. So if you are a doctor, for example, you now have access with AI to be able to do much more diagnosis. You are able to have access to much better patient data and so on. And so the ultimate result is that a doctor is able to do a much better job of taking care of the patient, for example. And as they can do that, that improves the overall ability of hospitals to become more profitable, if you will. They're able to hire more doctors. And that's really true in just about every industry. When a company becomes more productive, typically its profits will go up. And if its profits go up, then it is able to hire more people. I do believe that with AI, it's actually going to create more jobs, and it's going to help the economy overall. With AI, we're going to be able to do things like, particularly in India, it's going to democratize things. So we are going to be able to go and help, farmers in rural areas improve the yields on their crops and so forth. We're going to be able to take healthcare into places where it was not possible before. We're going to be able to cure disease and so on. So the effects of AI on society are going to be really, I think, very positive, and it's going to improve the livelihood of the entire world.
And that's music to everyone's ears, especially people who are right now fearful of this technology. And in some ways, of course, we're going to see disruption, and that's a given. But as you're saying, that there will be disruption, there will be an impact on some jobs, but the productivity gains will generate enough opportunities for more job creation. Jay, I'd like to also touch upon some of the aspects you've mentioned on the impact of society, healthcare, education. And when you talk about AI being a force for good and bringing about inclusion, how do you think this will happen at a time when the technology is moving so quickly that we're already seeing this two-speed economy of sorts? There are power users and there are laggards. And what is the role that companies like Nvidia will play in ensuring that we can sort of plug this gap?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And in fact, I think that is one of the major themes of the AI Impact Summit. Right? Because I think the Prime Minister, as I said, is very keen to make sure AI is democratized and it's inclusive.
Right.
He really wants India to be a digital hub for AI, which is, I think, totally possible. Yeah, I mean, when you look at AI, for example, it can, do things like you can interact with AI in local dialects, right, in your local languages and so on, and make it do things. And so in that sense, AI can be used by, a farmer in Maharashtra as easily, to get government services, for example, as easily as a techie in Bangalore.
Correct.
So it has the ability to reduce the digital divide.
Right.
Right, and it can make an impact and be inclusive all across society.
And I think that's the key, because you're talking about the fact that today, instead of increasing the digital divide, there's an opportunity for it to reduce the digital divide. The next question, I want to come to the next part of your 5-layered cake and touch upon each of them, but the demand for compute right now. I think that's the other question that we'd love to hear Nvidia talk about. The demand for compute is so strong right now, it's almost seeming unlimited. Can the supply chain really keep up? We're talking about foundry, memory, storage, optical components, all seem like we're looking at a very tight environment. Share with us how that is becoming very challenging, especially coming from Nvidia's viewpoint.
Yeah, no, the demand is off the charts. And the reason is, this is such an amazing technology, and companies want to utilize it, and the large hyperscalers and the large AI model companies want to advance it as fast as they can. Right now, there is not a single GPU in the cloud that is not lit up. So it's not just that this investment is being made, but all of the infrastructure that is there is completely being utilized right now. And the demand is insatiable. Of course, this is putting a lot of pressure on the supply chain, as you mentioned. And the good thing is we have very long-standing relationships with all the players in the supply chain, in the ecosystem. And we have been planning this demand with them. We are making sure that they are aware of the opportunity, and we're helping them as much as we can to help build up the capacity so that we will be able to serve the demand. So right now it's a challenge, but with proper planning, I think we will continue to manage it.
All right, Nvidia is saying that it is a challenge, so we can really imagine that being a challenge. Yeah. But Jay, would love to also get a sense from you on, India being an AI exporter. How is Nvidia enabling India's objectives here? What does India need to do to ensure success in AI? The one message that you have for India, the citizens, for the government on ensuring that India rides the AI wave and rides it well.
Yeah, no, in fact, Shweta, if I go back to your question about the 5-layer cake and talk about its implications for India, actually it's very promising because at the bottom you have energy. I think over the last few years, India has really invested in renewable energy, green energy, batteries, and so on. And so the cost of energy, which is very fundamental to this whole being able to be the digital hub to supply AI to the world, India is very competitive when it comes to that, right? When you look at things like building out the AI infrastructure, the government, through its AI mission and so on, has been extremely supportive, and we have been helping with that, so that there is already tens of thousands of GPUs that are available at subsidized prices for startups and researchers and so on, thanks to India AI mission, right? And now we are in talks with several large industrial companies, Yota, L&T, Reliance, and others, in terms of building AI factories for India. And again, the government is being extremely supportive, but through the 20-year tax holiday for people to build data centers and AI factories in India. We already talked about how we are supporting all the open model companies like Servam and so on in India through our Nemotron initiative, to help them all be at the leading edge, provide them with frontier level models. And then, of course, there are so many startups and so on that are now starting to build applications that are going to be very helpful and transform and keep Indian industry on top, right?
Jay, I could have loved to carry on this conversation, especially around data centers that you mentioned and the role, because that is a very crucial subject. It can take an entire conference on how do you do it in a sustainable way. But last two questions, and I know time's up, and you have a packed schedule as well. The one question that often comes up by the naysayers or those who are critics or those who are worried about the risks is this whole AI bubble. You know, what would you say to those who keep bringing it up time and again about the fact that what is happening is perhaps a little unreal?
Yeah, actually, you know, from where I sit and the extraordinary demand that we see, it really is a little puzzling to me that people bring this up.
Right.
And they try to compare it to, you know, the dot-com bust. But this is so different. You know, in the dot-com era, all the fiber, etc., that was laid was mostly dark. As I just mentioned, there is not a single GPU that is not being fully utilized. You know, the companies that are investing in AI are already using AI to improve their business, and it is having a direct impact on their revenue. A lot of things that they were already doing, now they are, now they are doing using AI, and they can. The reason they're able to invest is their revenues are going up, and they are throwing off a lot of, free cash flow. So I really don't think there is an analogy. This is an incredible new technology that is going to impact and transform everything. We are just at the very start of building out this infrastructure. You know, we are a couple of $100 billion into it, and this is going to require several $1 trillion worth of infrastructure to be built out.
All right.
So there is no bubble here.
There is no bubble here. Hear it loud and clear coming from someone who is leading NVIDIA's delegation to India. What an optimistic and I would say clear thought on which we're going to end this wonderful session. Jay Puri, Executive Vice President, NVIDIA, talking to us here at NDTV and laying out the roadmap, not just for NVIDIA or for India, but perhaps for the world that's watching what's going on in AI. Thank you so much for being with us here on NDTV. Thank you.
Thank you, Shweta.
Thank you.
It's been a real pleasure.
Real pleasure. Thank you.
Mr. Puri, if you can wait on stage for just a few seconds more, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Mr. Puri, for what has been a very engaging conversation. And in fact, as we've heard, it's not just about AI infrastructure. It's about chips. It's about systems. It's about having your cake and eating it too.
And a multi-layered cake at that as well. I think it's about talent, it's about education, Alex, and that is where long-term impact truly begins.
But NVIDIA's commitment to India goes beyond technology development and deployment. It extends into building capability and nurturing the next generation of AI engineers, researchers, and innovators.
Yeah.
We do want to talk about, of course, this very special education initiative. If you want to share your thoughts on this very quickly before we move to the next address.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, we are very committed to the talent development in India. So we have actually several initiatives whereby we are working with many universities and AI labs through our what we call our Deep Learning Institute to help promote AI education in India. We are working with all the, many universities here to help them develop the right curriculum and so on, so that we can upskill engineers in India.
I'm sure a lot of young engineers watching right now are going to be enthused and excited by what you've just said. Thank you so much, Mr. Puri.
Thank you so much. A huge round of applause, please,
I'm going to grab
for
that
Mr.
for you,
Puri.
sir. Thank you, sir.